Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Jesus. Ray, you're the man. Yeah, you need to go over to YouTube. You'll be able to see. You're just stuck looking at my face from there, which I'm okay with. I'm okay with it. It's not the greatest though. Man, some of the ads on Twitter, they get me. They get me. That's how you know you're getting old. Scott. You're the man, Scott. What was it? Man, you shared something. When was it? Was it Thursday? All my days get mixed up. I don't remember. I'll have to look. But you recently shared something that I remember going and watching. Maybe it was a couple Saturdays. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But you shared something. It was a longer video. Maybe it was a Saturday. And we didn't have time to watch it because it was long. But I think it was on AI or something, technology AI. And I just remember it was real good. It was one of those things like messed up half my day watching it, which is a good thing. So anyways, I appreciate that. It was really good. I don't remember what it was, but it was really good. Pastora, Lilith, the highlight of the week. What would the opposite of highlight be? Like if a highlight was like the greatest part of your week where you feel hopeful and like joyful about the world and about the state of things, what would the opposite of that be? What would the word for that be? Low light? It's the low light of the week? I swear to God, every time. I'll collect some stuff throughout the week. I'm going to kill a couple more minutes so people have time to get here, but I'll like collect a bunch of articles and whatever over the week, and I'll have these little moments of like, oh wow, things suck. Oh wow, things are terrible. But then Saturdays, when I sit down like a couple hours before we do this, and I like make sure all the links are still working because sometimes posts will get taken down and things like that. So I run through everything like rapid fire, and I'm like, oh man, I forgot. Things are terrible. Things are so bad. It's so bad out here. So, but it is a highlight. I enjoy doing this. It's nice to do it, and I'm grateful for it. But it's like, man, the little snippets of everything being terrible in the mix of like your normal day-to-day life is one thing, but just being blasted all at once with everything is like, it's a sobering moment of wow, things are not great. We're in a rough time right now, my friends, in a rough time. TikTok, go to YouTube. You're not gonna be able to see or hear anything. And I believe I think Michaela at least dropped something in here. Oh, Scott, you did too. Okay. Yeah, I posted that way late this week, so that was my bad. Oh, you guys got some stuff in here. Okay. Oh, God. Yeah, you guys got some stuff in there. All right. Okay. Well, I haven't been able to review it, so we'll see. All right, it's time. So anybody who is, watching this later, you're not normally with us for live streams. We have a Discord channel, or server, I suppose, is what it's actually called. There's a link in the description of the video. You can join. It is free. It will always be free. Everything from conspiracy to theology to the Bible to spirituality to science to just kind of talking. It's just kind of like a hangout, honestly. But there's wildly intelligent people in there, much smarter than me. Very intelligent conversations happening all the time that make me feel very out of my depth when I drop in the middle of something very hot and heavy. But it's a great place to be if you want to be around smart people. So just understand that that's there. We have that. You also know when all the live events and stuff like that we do are. We do 3 of these a week. Sunday is a Bible study, super in depth. Saturday is where we all cry and realize how bad the world is. And then Thursday is a topic discussion, which is my personal favorite. So here we go. Unrest continues in Tel Aviv, Israel. I'm going to sum this up very quickly. Everybody hates Netanyahu right now because of basically unwillingness to come to some sort of resolution. The other side of that is people saying there is no possible resolution. So you obviously, like everything else, or like anything else, you have two sides of it, like always. But there's massive protests going on in Israel at the moment. Some of them are getting violent, and people are calling for Netanyahu's government, as well as for his government to be relinquished, basically, and then for also the hostages to be released. So it's causing a bunch of problems. It's active, like this is active news. I was following updates like throughout the day. Some of it's conflicting, so I'm not really comfortable talking about a lot of it because I'll see one thing and then I'll see the polar opposite of it, just because it is all live. It's coming out like now. This was from 3:40 today. So it's we'll see. Maybe next week there'll be more concrete things to talk about. But I mean, you can see like there's a lot of people. A lot of people are upset. A lot of people are not happy with this war and what's going on. But it's both sides, just like anything else. Something a little bit more fun that made me happy. This was a highlight. This made me feel good. Disney slapped with civil rights complaint over 50% DEI goal for underrepresented actors and crew that sidelines white Christian men using files leaked by good old Elon Musk. American First Legal, let me make this a little bit bigger. American First Legal, a conservative action group founded by ex-Trump administration officials, has complained to the Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, EEOC, accusing Disney of illegal race and sex discrimination. It follows controversial casting moves by Disney, including black actress Halle Bailey. I'm not pop culture. Is it Halle Bailey? It sounds familiar. Can't place her though. As Ariel, oh, I remember this. I don't know her name, but I do remember this. So Halle Bailey as Ariel in The Little Mermaid, so Black Little Mermaid, and Latina Rachel Zegler as Snow White. Interesting. Roles previously associated with white performers. Not white Christian men, granted, but white all the same, I suppose. The 15-page document uses what appear to be internal Disney documents about diversity, equity, and inclusion, also known as DEI, targets that were shared earlier this month by Elon Musk. I mean, good on Musk. That's aggravating. I'm sorry. As the modesty guy, I find the bra commercials shoved down your face somewhat aggravating. Disney appears to be engaged in pervasive, far-reaching, and illegal race and sex discrimination, said AFL President Stephen? Do people here? It's a quick side note. I met a guy recently whose name is Steven, but he spelt it like that. And I said, no, your name is Stefan. And he said, no, it's Steven. I'm like, buddy, I beg to differ. That is Stefan. And he would not bend to my will that his name was actually Steven. Anyways, Stephen Miller, a senior advisor in Donald Trump's White House. It is sad and tragic that a company whose name was once synonymous with wholesome and charming childhood fantasies is now dedicated to spreading diverse bigotry. The EEOC, which enforces the laws banning workplace discrimination, does not have to act on the complaint. Disney did not immediately answer DailyMail.com's request for comment. The California-based company on its website says it seeks to build a diverse workforce with high-paying jobs accessible to all. This helps it better serve diverse audiences around the globe, it adds. The AFL's complaint refers to leaked Disney DEI files that lay out targets for half of the characters, actors, producers, writers, directors, and technical crews for its movies and shows coming from underrepresented groups. Musk earlier this month said he obtained those documents from an anonymous source and shared them via X/Twitter. He slammed Disney's DEI Gestapo for mandatory, institutionalized racism and sexism. Long story short, 1, I forgot my glasses, so bear with me. 2, this is really great. This is really good. Because the funny thing, and we've talked about it a lot, is that the word racism has been completely abandoned. Racism doesn't mean what racism used to mean. It doesn't mean what it still actually means, but it's become culturally something entirely different. It's become an entirely different thing. Racism, in and of itself, is for everybody. Racism is all about equity and inclusion, because you can be racist no matter what color you are, just like you can be sexist regardless of whether you're a man or a woman. Culture says that's not true, but reality says that that's true. So this is a great kind of look that perhaps we will be going back into that era. I just opened the voice channel. I totally forgot. So the Discord voice thing is on in case anybody wants to come on and complain. I don't know, but this is really good, right? This is like a positive thing. It's a step in the right direction, in my opinion, that these things are being called out. You got what's going on with Budweiser and the UFC. Very loud. He's being as obnoxious as Dana White is being as obnoxious as humanly possible to just put the woke stuff on blast. You have Elon Musk putting the woke stuff on blast, basically across the board. You finally have, from my view, you have most of culture that's not completely insane being very vocal about the woke thing at this point. I don't see a lot of people being quiet about it anymore. It seems much more mainstream, much more accepted, much more okay. People are less scared to just speak out against it. And the more of that happens, the more of it can happen. And it's very, very nice to see it. That nobody is safe, not even someone like Disney. And Disney had problems years ago. Their stock crashed. It was a whole big problem. It was around the time, it was the middle of COVID, I believe, when everybody like canceled their Disney. We did it in our house. We had to sit Zaya down, my kid, and be like, hey, we are not paying them anymore. We're not going to have Disney in our house anymore. This is in a child-friendly way. This is why we're not doing it. We don't believe in the messages that they're pushing at this point. This is going to continue to happen. And I think it's super positive. I think it's very productive. And I'm very stoked about it. Oh, I'm not going to be able to keep up with the chat. You guys are moving too quick. If anything super important happens in the chat, please let me know. So Disney getting slapped in the face just makes me very happy. It was the highlight of the Saturday news for me. The war in Ukraine is based on lies. This is from David Sachs. Lies about how it started, how it's going, and how it will end. We are told that Ukraine is winning when in fact it is losing. We are told that the war makes NATO stronger when in fact it is depleting it. We are told that Ukraine's biggest problem is a lack of funds from the US, Congress, when in fact the West can't produce enough ammunition. A problem that will take years to fix. We are told that Russia is suffering greater casualties when in fact Ukraine is running out of soldiers. Another problem money can't fix. We are told that the world is with us when in fact the global majority believes the US policy is the height of folly. We are told that there is no opportunity to make peace when in fact we have rejected multiple opportunities for a negotiation settlement. We are told that if Ukraine keeps fighting, it will improve its negotiating position when in fact the terms will only get much worse than what was already available and rejected. Nevertheless, the lies will succeed in dragging out the war. Congress will appropriate more funds, my own insertion here, that don't exist. They're fake. It's not real money. Russia will take more territory. Ukraine will mobilize more young men and women to feed into the meat grinder. My own interjection here as well. If you have not seen the insanity of who they're putting into the war in Ukraine now, if you have not seen these, and I hope that this comes off exactly how I mean it. Oh, shocking. We're having problems. Hold on. Hold on, y'all. See, okay. All right, hold on. I got to screenshot this. Give me 2 seconds. 100% of everything in the system is fine. The network is wildly above what the network needs to be able to run the stream. But YouTube is saying that it can't run the bitrate. So if we get dropped, we'll continue in Discord. The voice channel is open in Discord. So if something happens, just go over to Discord. But this is so annoying. There are 10 people here. I can't imagine YouTube would sabotage a stream with 10 people. That's like a wild conspiracy theory. Yet OBS is fine. My network is phenomenal, incredibly higher than I need to be able to do this. And YouTube is telling me that it's going to drop us more than likely. So just please be ready and go to Discord if it drops. Anyways, in Ukraine, the videos, the reports of women on the front lines, and I have no problem necessarily with women at war. I don't think they should be, just because I'm Mr. Traditional. I genuinely believe that's a man's job. However, I don't really have a problem with it. But when you see the types of women that are on the front lines, these are women that shouldn't be on the front lines. And I'll say that the same about men. There are a lot of men who also should not be on the front lines. They're not built for it. It's not the best call for anybody's sake, for their sake, for our sake. It's just not good. The women that I've seen who are being shoved in to fight this war because they are running out of soldiers are women that are not going to last. So at this point, they're essentially just sacrificing their people, is the way that it appears to me. I don't see any other way of explaining it. It's really sad to see. You can also see some people that, to me, look like they're younger than legal age. Anyways, eventually, there will be a crisis in Kyiv or Kiev. Who the hell knows anymore? And the Zelensky government will be toppled. And then, when the war is finally lost, when the whole country lays in smoldering ruins on a funeral pyre of their own making, the liars will say, quote, "Well, we tried," end quote. Having prevented any alternative, having smeared anyone who told the truth as puppets for the enemy, the liars will say, quote, "We did our best, we stood up to Putin," end quote. In fact, they will claim we would have succeeded but for the fifth column of Putin apologists who stabbed the Ukrainians in the back. Then, having shifted blame and patted themselves on the back, they will bitterly move on to the next war as they moved on to Ukraine after their disasters in Afghanistan and Iraq. The lies are comprehensive, but they will work. The sad thing is that he's absolutely right. The lies are ridiculous. The lies to somebody who is 20% free thinking are ridiculous. Yet he's right. They will work. On the majority, they will work. Because most people don't want to think. Thinking is hard. Being honest about things is hard. Being out of control is hard. And so we have a culture of people who would rather just live in la la land and pretend that they're kittens at 35 years old and get walked on a leash, which we'll look at later, as a grown-ass adult, rather than being like, hey, this is pretty fucked up. This doesn't seem right. I feel like I'm being lied to. Can I do anything about it? Well, that's a question maybe ask after. But at least the admission of this is what do we do now? And I think he's right, that it's going to work. It's going to work. That's exactly what's going to happen. And then we'll go into war with Iran. And then the same thing will happen again. And then we'll go into war with China or something. And then it will happen again. Because they need a way to continue funneling money. They need a way to continue laundering money. It's just the reality of how this crap works. And culture is right. Quote, not me, quote, "If it were a white male shooting, we'd know." This is in response to the Kansas City shooting. Okay, so in case you're totally out of the loop, what happened, in a nutshell, was a parade, I believe, a parade after the Super Bowl for the Kansas City Chiefs, who won the Super Bowl. I was going to drop a conspiracy about Taylor Swift. I'm gonna hold it for now. There's a parade. Gunfire ensued. Automatic weapons, some reports. Not, semi-automatic in another report. Pictures of men who are not white in handcuffs reported as the shooters. Mainstream media won't touch any of it. And then you have this.
I mean, we don't know who did this shooting, by the way, the Super Bowl shooting.
We have some idea.
What?
If it were a white man shooting, we'd know.
Well, we don't know. But they haven't.
That's how we know it's not a white man. I can tell you that much.
Do you think they were repressing that reporting?
They wouldn't tell us about the transgender woman that shot up the Christian school for what, like a year? San Bernardino out here. Remember the crazy terrorist Muslims? That's when I first noticed, they're not telling us who it is. It's not a white male. The longer they go without telling you, it's not a white male.
Okay, well, for this one, for right now, as of Friday night, February 16th.
We know.
We don't officially know. Okay, you have special powers.
So the obvious context is that the media doesn't report if it's basically anybody who's not a white man. White men doing violence makes every report. White men doing violence, even unconfirmed, immediately hits the news. However, if it's anybody, and I'm not singling out, black people, I'm not singling out Hispanics, I'm not singling out Chinese people, anybody who's not just a white man, what she's saying is that it doesn't hit the news at all. And if it does hit the news, it's way after it's blown over so that nobody cares anymore. They'll suppress it as long as humanly possible so that nobody cares, because there's been a bunch more stories. Maybe they'll even release some crazy story to pull your focus, and then they'll put out like, oh, it was a Hispanic guy or a Chinese guy or a black guy or whatever. Can you really argue? It's kind of what happens now. It doesn't fit the narrative at all. Therefore, it doesn't make the narrative. It's just kind of the world we live in at this point. The media is bought and paid for. This is like, thank God you have people doing independent media. People like the Louder with Crowder, like the Tim Pools, even some on the other, even like Destiny. I don't agree with him on 90% of things, but he's still he reports on things that are actually happening. And for the most part, he at least doesn't stick to the mainstream narrative of hiding things like that. He's got wicked, twisted ass opinions on a lot of things, in my personal humble opinion, but at least he reports on it, which is good. It's thank God for independent media. I saw Matt put in the chat, what about Disney's cartoons with God, how do I say this? With child inappropriate physical activity symbols. That's actually on our list for Thursday topics, is to go through all the conspiracies of Disney. So eventually we'll get to that, because it's something to talk about. That will be a Discord only stream, because I don't think we could get away with talking about most of it. Did Joe just IRL censor? What is IRL censor? Oh, when I was swearing? Yeah. I'm trying not to swear. But I can't not express it, So I'm just gonna mute myself. It's a new thing I'm trying. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to swear. I want this to be safe for people to be around their kids. I want my kid who can hear me to not hear me swear, because we don't swear in our house. So yeah, I'm gonna mute myself. So sorry if it comes off as very silly. All right, and yeah, I can't catch up. So if anything happens in the chat, please let me know. This one's really good. I'm very excited about this. So for anybody who doesn't know, Tucker Carlson, who is the media savior, in my opinion, he doesn't get everything right. He's not perfect. He can do things better. Even the Russia or the Putin Tucker interview, I see some things that I wish he would have done differently. Some pushes he could have done a little bit harder. But I also totally see his side of why maybe he didn't. I can grasp both ends. But what happened after Tucker did, before, we covered this last week, but before Tucker went to do the Putin interview, as soon as he announced it, the mainstream media went wild, to the point that Hillary, from all appearances, forced her way on to the mainstream news so that she could just smear Tucker. And all of mainstream media prior to his interview was the most childish middle school. It was wild. It was wild to watch these grown ass adults just smear his character. And that's all. Nothing about his credentials, nothing about his ability to have an interview. It was just like childish middle school slandering to try to preface, to try to get ahead of, to try to do damage control for whatever was going to happen when he did the Putin interview. Anyways, Tucker, what he says right here, the poster says, Tucker Carlson is an un-American for interviewing Putin. Meanwhile, CBS News sits down with Hamas terrorists.
We met a Hamas commander at an undisclosed location in the West Bank.
Are you a wanted man?
I am, indeed.
Calling himself Abu Abed, he joined 9 years ago when he was just 60.
So we're not going to watch it because it's long. I'll leave a link to it. If any of you guys want to watch it, save it for later. But does this not represent the media environment, the media atmosphere? Tucker interviews Putin, un-American, not patriotic. Many of them even said we shouldn't let him come back into the country. Yet, CBS can interview Hamas, which arguably, from what the actual office of the United States says, we are in more of a conflict with Hamas than we are with Russia, right? Because technically we're not at war with Russia, right? Right, baby girl? I thought we weren't at war with Russia. So what's the big deal? What's the problem with that? Because there's tension? There's always been tension. There's no tension with Hamas. We're actively dealing with Hamas right now. Not with Russia, from what they say. We absolutely are at war with Russia, in my opinion. But the narrative is that we are not at war with Russia. The inconsistencies, the incongruencies, the absolute just garbage of logic. The problem, 9 out of 10 people who watch this will have no problem with it. And those same 9 out of 10 will watch Tucker and say he's un-American. Broken. It's wild. It's wild. You should watch it though. It was very interesting. It was very interesting. All right. Let me see. Just in, U.S. Senate passes a $95 billion aid package for Ukraine, Israel, and Taiwan without border security provisions while most Americans are still asleep. This was, I believe, the 13th. So they used the Super Bowl to hide this. They did it on the hush-hush. They did it before 6 o'clock in the morning. If that doesn't scream shady, I don't know what does. So the big picture here, we talked about it in previous weeks. Several weeks ago, they tried to put a what they called the border bill into effect. What the border bill was actually the Ukraine bill. So it was, I believe it was $118 billion. $60 billion of it was straight to Ukraine. Then a bunch more billion was to Israel and what's going on in Gaza. And then I think was to Taiwan. Then 20 billion out of 118 billion, 20 billion was to the border. Okay, Republicans shot it down because they're like, that's not a border bill. That's a Ukraine bill. No. We need more for the border. We are having an invasion at the border. So 20 billion is not going to cut it. Democrats lost their minds, said, well, Republican, I thought they wanted the border to be secure. I want the blame the Republicans. Okay, so now this happens in the wee hours of the night, still technically, they pass the border bill, essentially, but now with nothing to the border, $0 to the border, not even 1 billion. It was going to be 20 billion. Now not even 1 billion. Now not even $1. Zero. Nothing. Ukraine still got, Israel still got, Taiwan still got, the U.S. gets nothing for the border. Nothing. I don't get it. I don't get how you can still at this point be like, they're not trying to hurt us. Our government is not trying to hurt us. They love us. They have our best interests at heart. What is happening makes sense. This is logical. There is some sort of reason behind this, like rationale. I have a hard time thinking that many people are stupid, yet you keep proving. We keep proving as a country we are in fact that stupid. We are that dumb. We're that brainwashed. We're that something that results in like this type of thing happening. It's phenomenal. It's truly impressive to some sick degree. It's impressive to watch happen. While Americans struggle to put food on their table, Congress just passed a massive aid bill. Here's what's in it. Ukraine, $60 billion. So Ukraine got their $60 billion still. Good. I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad to hear it. Israel got $14 billion. Taiwan got $5 billion. East Palestine, Ohio got $0. Flint, Michigan got $0. Lahaina, Hawaii got $0. And also, I'll just add, the border got $0. Understand, friends, they don't care about you. Hell, they don't even like you. They care only for the people funding their campaigns who keep them in office, i.e. lobbyists from Boeing, Raytheon, Lockheed, BAE, Honeywell, and General Dynamics. I pulled it because it's true. All right, now let's get into some of the spooky stuff. Greece blackouts. This was one of a handful that I found. There's still some conflicting things about it, but it seemed reliable enough for me to feel comfortable putting it on here. So, Black Swan event in Greece, ? These blackouts are happening more frequently everywhere, which is true. You just know it's coming. The WEF told us as much, so prepare. There's no audio needed, but he's just showing that he's trying to get money out of an ATM. He can't because they're in a blackout. And then he shows the city streets, and you can see that, you know, what is emergency lighting essentially is all that's active. If you look, you can find that this is happening more frequently. These electrical blackouts are happening more frequently. Here's my 30 seconds or less take on this. And I've explained it before. I am with the party of people that believes this is how CBDCs come in. Not this. This is the result of them. This is a result of after they come in. CBDCs are going to come in because banks will continue to collapse. Eventually, bigger banks like Chase will collapse. Only once they've completely backed everything up for themselves with the government and they're all taken care of. Bigger banks will still collapse eventually because it's how they're going to usher us into CBDCs. CBDCs, if you haven't been around, are central bank digital currencies. It is essentially the digital dollar. The digital dollar is still run by the Fed, which is a private corporation, is not actually a part of our government. So the CBDCs will come in. Your bank at Chase, Wells Fargo, whatever, Citibank, you'll eventually get notice that, hey, everything is gone. Everything is gone. Whether it's from bankruptcy, whether it's from a hack, it doesn't matter. They'll probably use a bunch of different reasons. But the money will be gone, is the bottom line. What will happen is the government will come in and say, not a problem, brother, no problem. We will reissue 100%. You are FDIC insured, 100%, even if you're over 250K, which normally FDIC will not insure past that amount. If you have $3 billion in the bank, you're insured, no problem, dollar for dollar. Just download the app. You will get what is being called by the Fed, FedCoin. It's already here. It exists. Also, you have USDC, which is also centrally owned, centrally governed. It can be shut off, frozen, or retracted at any time. At any time. But will repay you 100%. Your new Chase account will be full of USDC or FedCoin, dollar for dollar. You lose nothing. But now every dollar is on their blockchain. Every dollar can now be frozen. There have already been 1 million instances of USDC being frozen because of 1 million different reasons. Because you got flagged for a transaction you made on PayPal, for whatever. It's already happening. It's been happening for several years. It's not new. It's just become mainstream. It's going to become the norm. So anyway, the point, once that happens, this will happen. Just like in California, when they pushed everybody to electric cars, not that everybody got one, but they did a big push to get people to buy electric cars. And then they said you can't charge it because the grid can't handle it. Is there a better way to stop people from moving freely in their state than to force everybody onto an electric vehicle and then say, brown out, you can't charge your vehicle? How do you go anywhere? You don't. What's the solution for that? 15-minute cities, which I'm going to show you are also already here. They're beginning to pop up. You don't need a car, baby girl. You live in a 15-minute city. We talked about the line. You don't need a car. You live in the line. You're good. It's all coming together. I was never a conspiracy guy. I feel like such an Alex Jones as of the past year and a half. It's crazy just how much has changed. All right, here's a fun one. So you got climate change activist gets arrested while protesting at Biden's campaign headquarters. The youth are not okay. They think the world is coming to an abrupt end. I think they might be right, but just not in the way that they think they're right. They think it'll be climate change. It won't.
Oh, my home is under attack. Wildfire, storms, drought, hurricanes. The climate crisis is here, and Biden has the power to do something about it. All we're asking is that he use the tools at his disposal. I'm putting my life on the line, my body on the line, and all we're asking is that he declare a climate emergency, that he stand with us and fight for a livable future, and that he make good on his campaign promises. He promised to end offshore drilling. He promised to ban the expansion of new oil, gas.
Okay, you get the picture. The youth is brainwashed into thinking that the biggest problems we have right now are like to be an ass about it are like cows farting. It's going to ruin the world. Like, no, all the stuff I just ranted about, be concerned about that. Those are serious concerns, in my opinion. Who the hell am I? But in my opinion, those are serious concerns. Those are like next 5-year concerns. Climate change is just not. It's just not. Unless, like the movie we watched the other night, the poles shift and then nothing matters anyways, because most of us will be dead. But in this reality, functioning off of what we have now to go off of, I think there are a lot of things to be afraid about. There are a lot of things to be very, very concerned about. I'm not sure if climate change should be at the top. I saw Nat said, I'm catching like every other comment, so I'm sorry if I missed something that's good, genuinely. But Nat said, I don't know if it's just me, but it scares me when we start taking sides on international conflict. Like, first, we need to focus on ourselves, and second, I'm afraid to make enemies that way. It's hard though, right? I think it's hard and it's complicated because of the United States history. I think it's complicated, and because we've already become so entrenched in these other governments, and then consider the one world government. Like, yeah, we're tied to these people. So if they have a problem, we have a problem. Is basically the way that they depict it. So as much as like I personally believe with blinders on, they're like, yeah, we should just focus on us only. And I do believe that 100%. What I mean is that we've wrongfully tied ourselves to way too many other things. And then you have to consider, you do have to consider some geopolitical just realities, like things like microchips, things like oil. You have to have some kind of alliances. So I agree 100%. I'm not smart enough to be able to be like, oh, well, we just need to do that, and then we're solid. I think it's very complicated. It's like the lunchroom in middle school or high school, where you might be the kid who has friends in different groups, and you're you know how to navigate and how to deal with the different groups so that you can keep your friends that are in different groups, and you're not put into another group because you're interacting with one of those groups. It's complicated. It's complex. But the wars, I don't see why we're in any of these, really. I don't see why we can't be friends. We can't trade. We can't have a healthy relationship geopolitically and just choose hey, that's your war, Ukraine. That's your war. We love you. We're with you. That's as far as it goes for me. I hurt for the people in Ukraine 100%, but it's not my war. It's not our war. We have a war happening here. And now we're starting crap with Iran. We got problems. Our military is depleted. We have problems. I'm sorry for you. But that's kind of as far as it goes. Godspeed, kid. The Borderlands bill. What is the Borderlands bill? Is that an actual thing, or are you being sarcastic? The only Borderlands I know is a solid video game. It's an older video game, but it's a solid video game. All right, now to really piss you off, though. Libs at TikTok. Great source. Great source, if you want to be just livid. This is from an annual parade in Spain, which took place this week. Little girls dressed in lingerie to perform with pride flags strapped to their backs. Everyone involved in this should be arrested. I'm not going to play the audio because I think something is said that I don't want said. I don't really have anything to add. I don't feel like I need to say anything. I feel like we should all, as a society, be like, yeah, this is not cool. We're not about this. Let's not do this. Is there anything else? Does there need to be a discussion at all? I don't think so. It's disgusting. These people should be in jail. It's really just as simple as that. It's really, really that simple. So technically, the Ukraine bill can be seen as a border bill. Ah, gotcha. Yeah. I mean, it is a border. We are protecting a border. It's just not our border. We're protecting several borders. We're being very good people. Just not for us. Which is apparently what we do now. We ruin our people and we try to protect other people that we shouldn't have at least first responsibility to. If we want to be friends and fight together, I don't agree with it, but whatever. But at least take care of here first. It's the old, you need to keep your house together before you can go out and help somebody else. You guys keep bringing, every time I say that, the mask on the plane, fix your mask before helping others. You can't help other people adequately if you are in disarray, if your house is unclean, if your house is disorganized. You can't go out and help other people organize their house. It doesn't make sense. It also just doesn't work. Post Malone had been putting out videos about this. Have you seen them? Post Malone has been putting out videos about what exactly? Oh, the Bahamas, Jamaica, and Nigeria have already introduced CBDCs, and more than 100 countries are in the exploration stage. Yeah, so I guess on that, and I'm going to try really hard not to get crazy because I'm a big finance guy. I love this stuff. BRICS is also, BRICS pulled away from USD, from the US dollar for trade. I'm going to butcher this, so just I'm not saying a fact. I'm saying roughly what I remember is that Russia went from, I want to say it was 80% of their oil trade was in US dollars, the petrol dollar. Well, now I want to say it's something that's less than 30%. And if you're not a finance person, what that does to the value of the US dollar is massive. It's massive. And you wonder why your dollar is worth nothing. If the world stops using US dollars as reserve currency, if they stop using it as a general primary trade currency, you're going to see the value of the money in your bank essentially go to nothing. It will go to 20%. So 20 cents on the dollar is what it will eventually be worth. But anyway, BRICS, which is Russia, India, Africa, I don't remember all of them, but a conglomeration of other geographical areas. They came together a long time ago and created BRICS. BRICS is collectively decided to move away from the US dollar. During that, the globalists use it as a point to push in CBDCs. So that's what Scott's talking about. That's where these other countries are beginning to use digital currency already. And that's what I'm saying is, guys, we're already using it. You just might not be. I use it because I'm in the financial market. I already use CBDCs. It's not something that's coming. It's something that's here. It's just that people who aren't in the loop aren't using it yet because you don't have to. Once you have to is when you will. But people who are just going about their lives buying things from 7-Eleven and buying gas and maybe getting some stuff on Amazon and then at Publix or whatever, no, you're not aware of it. Why would you be? But people who are heavily in the online world, specifically in the financial market world, specifically trading currencies with other countries, you're already using it. It's called CBDC. We already have FedCoin. It hasn't been implemented yet. USDC, I've been using for years. I've been trading with that for years. It's tethered to the US dollar. It can be frozen at any time by a central company, which has happened numerous times already. This has already happened. It's already here. It just hasn't hit like the normal person yet, but it will. More Fed nonsense, blood tribe, whatever if that means. Blood tribe. Yeah, I was seeing Nashville was trending, but I haven't seen what it is. Some other stuff that was odd was trending today too. Anyway, all right. So Chile, this is insane. In 2024, people, and I'm reading. I don't think it's insane. I think it's a bit crazy. But in 2024, people in Chile are now reportedly painting their houses and roofs in a particular color of blue in order to protect themselves. I'm not sure the comment section here will tell you why. Remember, Chile has the most lithium in the entire world. This is somewhat complicated, but there are a lot of theories that a DEW is what hit Maui and burnt it to a crisp. I don't know if you were very involved in that, but there were a lot of people on the ground in Maui, like people who lived there, that their home got burned, who would go into the area when they weren't supposed to, be hiding from like the police and the army that was there, and be recording things. And they would show that it seemed like things were not as they were told that they were. That things looked like this wasn't a natural fire. Conspiracy theories, right? So it's for example, cars being literally melted. That's not what normally happens in a fire. We see cars that go through a massive fire all the time. I agree with them when they say it did not look normal. It looked odd. I don't have any sort of opinion on the conspiracy theories. It's just a theory. Now, here too, you have readers out of context that thought people might want to know. The Maui fire blue paint theory is a conspiracy theory with no basis in fact. What it comes from my understanding, and I could be wrong, so feel free to correct me, is that you had some celebrities, like a few, not a lot, a few, that I was able to actually like verify, that had some shade of blue on their roof. The theory is that people are now painting their roofs blue because they believe that the direct energy weapon that allegedly was used in Maui to burn everything, it doesn't target that shade of blue. So they're painting their roofs blue so that they will be spared. It reminds me of the Bible, right? With the blood. It's reminiscent of that, which is off-putting. But regardless, I haven't seen any actual, confirmable anything on this. It's a theory. People are talking about it. So just in case you see, because when I first saw it, I had no idea what the hell was going on. If you see things on social media about people painting their houses blue, their roofs blue, this is where it comes from. That's what it's from. Do with that what you will. FBI informant at the heart of GOP's Biden bribery allegations indicted over false statements. The confidential source at the center of allegations being promoted by House Republicans that President Biden accepted a bribe has been arrested and charged with making false statements to the FBI. So you can put 90-something charges on Trump. You can try to jail your political opponent as a Democrat. You can do those things. No problem. No problem. But an FBI informant who puts allegations against Trump promoted by House Republicans against Biden, allegations against Biden, that was promoted by House Republicans, that Biden accepted a bribe, which there is basically video evidence of this. That guy gets put in jail. Or at least gets charged. It's a wild world we live in, man. The allegations risk unwinding the House GOP probe into President Biden. Shocking. In making their case, GOP lawmakers have frequently pointed to conversations the confidential source, Alexander Smirnov, had with the FBI, relaying that the head of Ukrainian energy company Burisma told him he had paid both President Biden and his son Hunter Biden $5 million. The indictment alleges Smirnov made up the allegations given his opposition to President Biden's candidacy. Quote, as alleged in the indictment, the events that Smirnov first reported to the FBI agent in June 2020 were fabrications, end quote. The Justice Department wrote in a press release announcing the grand jury indictment. There is a video that has been going around for a very long time of Biden talking about the prosecutor and the bribe. I don't understand. And yet, just like everything else, 9 out of 10 people, maybe 7, maybe 8. I don't think it's any better than that. 7 to 9 out of 10 people are going to just accept it. They'll be like, oh, okay, it was fabricated. What about the video? What about all of the What about the miles of evidence that these guys, this family, the Biden family, was engaged in these types of things? What about all of it? How do you, as a conscious human being, be made aware of all of it and still not be like, at the very least, something seems off? Maybe I don't believe all of it. Maybe some of it's trumped up by the Republicans. I could understand that ideology. What I can't understand is you being made aware of all of it, or 50% of it, and being like, no way. There's no way. Biden said so in a video that's been going around for years. How can you say that? It blows my mind. The indictment alleges that the defendant transformed his routine and unextraordinary business contract with Burisma in 2017 and later into bribery allegations against public official 1 after expressing bias against public official 1 and his presidential candidacy. They added, referring to President Biden. It's wild, man. It blows me away. All right, so I said 15-minute cities were here, and here they are. So the 15-minute city program is progressing quickly in the UK. Oxford is being divided up into 11 districts right now, with permissions required to leave your district. Now it's America's turn, starting with Arizona. Residents get a free electric e-bike. I think it's the first 1,000 or maybe 200.
Community in Tempe has all the This brand new rental community in Tempe has all the amenities: fitness center, dog park, outdoor kitchens, but something's missing.
So there are no cars in this community at all.
Isn't it great?
Cul-de-sac is the first community in the U.S. designed and built specifically for car-free living. Co-founder Ryan Johnson says the demand is strong.
Every generation, and including 92% of Gen Z, would like to pay more to live in a walkable neighborhood.
Retail, restaurants, and to start, nearly 200 apartments, all within steps of each other. No cars means no parking spaces, no garages.
Because we don't have residential parking, it opens us up to have 55% landscape space, and we get to add so much to the neighborhood.
Like social spaces around every corner. The complex is strategically located right next to the area's light rail system. All residents get a free pass. The first 200 also get a free electric e-bike. This brand new...
There it is. It's... Here, the hopeful part about it is there's no way to implement this fast unless there's another pandemic of sorts. Then you could usher in this type of thing quicker, but it's still going to take time. Infrastructure it's not built for this currently. The way our economy works, it's not built for this currently. This can't happen like immediately. This is going to take time. But that timeline can be expedited if we have something else similar to COVID. It could be expedited that way. But even then, it's going to take some length of time to actually implement this in a way that functions and isn't a complete catastrophe, unless they're willing to expend a majority of people. The sad part is that they are. So it could be implemented quickly, just a lot of people would die. Just a happy thought for you. Listen to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. sharing the ugly truth about Ukraine. So I'm going to play this all the way through. We're going to play it fast, so I'm sorry that you hate me. I do want to say that, in my opinion, not everything he says is 100% accurate. Specifically, for the most part, in my opinion, the general concepts are accurate. Some of the specifics of how things work are not quite accurate. In my opinion, who the hell am I? Do your own research.
That should have never happened. It's a war the Russians tried repeatedly to settle on terms that were very, very beneficial to Ukraine and us. The major thing they wanted was for us to keep NATO out of the Ukraine. The big military contractors want to add new countries to NATO all the time. Why? Because then that country has to conform its military purchases to NATO weapon specifications, which means certain companies, Northrop Grumman, Raytheon, General Dynamics, Boeing, and Lockheed, get a trapped market. In March of 2022, we committed $113 billion. Just to give you an example, we could have built a home for almost every homeless person in this country. We then committed another $24 billion since then, 2 months ago, and now President Biden's asking for another $60 billion. But the big expenses are going to come after the war, when we have to rebuild all the things that we destroyed. Mitch McConnell was asked, can we really afford to spend $113 billion to Ukraine? He said, don't worry, it's not really going to Ukraine.
It's going to American defense manufacturers.
So he just admitted it's a money laundering scheme. And who do you think owns every one of those companies? BlackRock. So Tim Scott, during the Republican debate.
So I'm going to pop real quick. Just so everybody understands, truly, BlackRock doesn't own everything. I hate BlackRock because they own too much. But BlackRock owning 7% of a company, which some of the stuff that RFK has talked about, not right here, but in other speeches he's given, he'll say that BlackRock owns a company when they own a large stake in a company, but they don't even always own a controlling stake in a company. And this is why I said it's, in my opinion, from what I know with the very little, which is the financial market side of it, it's just not true. They own too much for us to be comfortable with. Absolutely agree. But to say BlackRock owns this company and BlackRock owns that company, it's just not accurate. It's not true. Half the time it's not a controlling stake, which means they can't do anything with that company. They own stake in the company. I own stake in companies. It doesn't mean anything. If they own a controlling stake in a company, that means something. That is more on the scary side. But there is a difference. It's a genuine, necessary to understand difference.
Hey, said, don't worry. It's not a gift to Ukraine. It's a loan. So raise your hand if you think that loan's ever getting paid back. Yeah, of course it's not. So why do they call it a loan? Because if they call it a loan, they can impose loan conditions. And what are the loan conditions that we impose on? Number one, an extreme austerity program, so that if you're poor in Ukraine, you're going to be poor forever. Number two, most important, Ukraine has to put all of its government-owned assets up for sale to multinational corporations, including all of its agricultural land, the biggest single asset in Europe. In Ukraine, there's been 1,000 years of war fought over that land. It's the richest farmland in the world. It's the breadbasket of Europe. 500,000 kids almost, Ukrainian kids, have died to keep that land as part of Ukraine. They almost certainly didn't know about this loan condition. They've already sold 30% of it. The buyers were DuPont, Cargill, and Monsanto. Who do you think owns all of those companies? Yeah, BlackRock.
They don't. They own large stake in those companies. They also own large stake in most companies. It's not controlling.
And then In December, President Biden gave out the contract to rebuild Ukraine. And who do you think got that contract? BlackRock. So they're doing this right in front of us. They don't even care that we know anymore, because they know that they can get away with it. And how do they know that? Because they have a strategy. And that strategy is an old strategy, which is they keep us at war with each other. They keep us hating on each other. They keep the Republicans and Democrats fighting each other, and black against white, and all these divisions that they sow.
So he's not wrong about the general context of what he's saying. BlackRock does own way too much of way too many things, but it's across the board. So as much as they own stake in Monsanto, they own stake in something you don't care about at all. Why? Because they're the largest financial institution in the world. They own parts of everything. Why? Because they can. Because they can. Why would they not? If I had those resources, I would also own stake in everything, because I'm going to make a return on that, and then I get bigger, and then I own more. The part that's true, that is good that he's saying this stuff, is because most people aren't going to look into that. So it makes people hate BlackRock, which I think is a positive thing. I just wish it was more accurate, like more detailed. You should hate BlackRock. They are buying up single-family homes to an alarming rate. We talked about it when we did the Great Reset, the Agenda 2030. They are doing that. They're outbidding persons, families, on single-family homes so that they own all of it. Why? So that they can rent it to you. That stuff is true. So it is what it is. But not everything is owned in a controlling manner by BlackRock. That is just not true. All right. House Republicans push Biden to take cognitive test after her report, obvious mental decline. House Republicans are appealing directly to President Biden, demanding that he take a cognitive test to prove his mental fitness for office. Rep. Johnny Jackson, our Texas, the former White House physician who served as chief medical advisor to former President Trump, had a letter to the president co-signed by 33 House Republicans, including House GOP Conference Chair Elise Stefanik, and Chief Deputy Whip Guy, not even going to try it. Now I'll try it. Reschenthaler. That's a solid last name. That's a strong last name, if I knew how to say it. Arguing that the president's many public gaffes are a national security concern. Did I play the video last week where Kareem Jean-Pierre tried to say that Biden's gaffes are normal? Did I play that, or did I choose to keep that out? She did, though. She tried to justify the fact that Biden is just not there at all anymore. Quote, following the recent report from Special Counsel Report Her, we write to express our grave concerns with your current cognitive state and ability to successfully execute the duties of the presidency, including as chief executive, head of state, and commander-in-chief, the lawmakers wrote. The President of the United States must demonstrate sound mental abilities regardless of gender, age, or political party, which you have not. Savage. It comes as Biden's critics continue to seize on a recent report by Special Counsel Robert Hur regarding the president's handling of classified documents before he took office. Hur's 388-page report cleared President Biden of wrongdoing despite having, quote, willfully retained and disclosed classified materials. Hold up. Wait a minute. Isn't Trump being indicted for that? Isn't that happening? Like the exact same thing? Interesting. Hur said Biden came off as, quote, a sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with a poor memory. Let me break this down for you, even though we talked about it a bit last week. Here's what's happening. The DOJ, the Department of Justice, deemed Biden unfit to stand trial. So Biden had classified documents, shouldn't have had them. DOJ says he's too old, quote, what was said about him, sympathetic, well-meaning, elderly man with poor memory. the outcome is that he was not fit to go through a court proceeding. What the lawmakers are saying now is, how the hell are you fit to lead the country then? If you can't go through a court proceeding where you have done something wrong and you will be held liable for that, how are you the president of the United States still? How is the 25th not being implemented? It's just being ignored. They in this article too, they say 5 times they've tried to get him to take this cognitive test. Each time it's ignored by the White House. It's just one of those things, man. How is this a way that our government works? Where the people say, hey, President, we love you. We need you to take this test just to make sure you're still good. We're worried about you. We're concerned for you. And by proxy, we're concerned for us. So just take an hour, take this test. It's no big deal. You'll get an email when the results come through. Why isn't that like a given? Why isn't it that that's how the government works? I find it just wild that that's not just like a very simple, yeah, of course we need to make sure that the president is not literally senile, because that's kind of a problem. That's a bit of a problem if that's the president of the United States. In case, good God. I can't think while it's on. All right, in case you're listening to this and you're not watching it, this is a video, I briefly mentioned it at some point earlier on. It's a video, I believe it's in Spain. I could be wrong. I believe it's in Spain. There is a very nicely dressed, what appears to be a middle-aged 30s woman, looking real classy, beautiful, love it. She has another woman on a leash who is on her hands and knees in what appears to be like maybe a onesie of some kind. What do they call those? Rompers? Is that a romper? I don't know. But there's a middle-aged woman walking another middle-aged woman on a leash. And you see this often nowadays. It's really not a big deal. You see it often when you see the pride parades now. You see less often the people dressed normally. You see less often one of the two, the one being walked, actually on their hands and knees. And being like walked. Like properly walked. Like an animal. This is the world we live in. This is what things have come to. It looks like old leashed gal is having a hard time keeping up. And she's not really wanting to be patient with her, it appears. Oh, she's pulling back. This is wild. Yeah. Oh. This is the only thing that like I'm grateful that we might be involved in a hot war. I hate to say that because I'm not grateful for that. But one positive thing that would come from like a serious conflict that the United States is involved in would be this type of stuff would cease to exist. I think, in my opinion. I think the trans thing, adults walking other adults on leashes. If any of you follow me on X, I reposted something in the past day or two. Nat has seen some stuff I've posted that is in the sexual realm of reality insane. Well, I found another one of those, so I reposted it. I cannot show it on YouTube, but it's on X. If you have me there, you can flip through the past couple days. You'll find it. That type of stuff. People doing insane things in the name of sexuality. It'll die, right? If we go to a hot war, if we're involved in a hot conflict, I have to think it will die. Because there will be actual problems. There will actually be issues feeding your family. You will actually have men in your life that you know who are overseas shooting at people and being shot at. I hope to God that of all the atrocities that us going to war would be, even though we're already at war, but a hotter declared war, I have to just pray to God that that would be one positive outcome, is that we would no longer have time for this insanity. And people would they'd step back into reality out of necessity. And there's still a part of me that thinks it just won't do the trick. It's just not going to quite do the trick. Breaking footage of drone strike on Russian ship, just to get a bit of a more clear picture of what's going on around the world. With a crew of around 50 men on board, the Russian landing ship, Caesar, Russian word I don't know, reportedly capsized and sank in the Black Sea after sustaining multiple drone strikes. You also have Ukraine has claimed it sunk the Russian landing ship Caesar in the Black Sea. Moscow reports downing 6 Ukrainian drones in the area. So Ukraine is saying they sunk the ship. Moscow is saying we shot the drones. Who knows? Who knows? But things are hot. People are dying. The world is at war. I think by definition we're in world war. I need to look into this, but I believe there's a definition somewhere, an arbitrary definition, because that's how things work now, where if a certain number of countries around the world are engaged in a war, it's technically world war. So I think technically we met the threshold. Somebody check, but I'm pretty sure currently we've met the threshold for calling what is happening right now in the world World War III. I think that we're there. This one's going to break your heart. Twin boys, 4 were smothered, strangled, or given an overdose by Meta engineer Facebook dad who also killed his wife and himself at $2.1 million Bay Area home, police sources say. A former Meta engineer smothered, strangled, or gave an overdose to his 4-year-old twins before he shot his wife and himself dead, according to police sources. Anand Sujith Henry, 37, his wife Elise, 38, and their twins Noah and Nathan? Or is that Nathan? It's just spelled different? I don't know. Maybe it's just Nathan, just spelled out. Were found dead in their $2.1 million home in Ritzy, San Mateo, California on Monday. The couple, who worked as data scientists and an engineer, respectively, were found with gunshot wounds beside a 9mm pistol and a loaded magazine in a bathroom. Police sources told NBC News investigators believe their twins were killed using a different method, as their bodies showed no signs of trauma, pointing them to possible asphyxiation or overdose. They were found inside. How is it either or? Is, I guess, a question. Maybe the tox screen hadn't come back yet. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. So either asphyxiation or an overdose, because there were no signs of trauma, physical trauma. They were found inside one of the home's 5 bedrooms Monday morning on a couch. This is awful. This is heartbreaking. And you have to wonder why. Why? How does something like that happen? What is going on in their lives that brings a man to do that? The case as of Wednesday is being treated as a murder-suicide. After early reports erroneously indicated the family died of gas poisonings, cops now say that was not the case after coming across the horrific scene during a welfare check at 9:13 a.m. Why was there a welfare check is also a question. I can't really think of why there would be. Unless this is days after perhaps them not showing up to work or the kids not showing up to school. If it's like the day of, that would be really odd to me. We know what's not going on in their lives. Jesus. Yeah, I had an argument with somebody the other day yesterday, about Even if you remove God, remove Jesus specifically, remove all the dogma, and just bring biblical morality into the world, bring biblical morality into the United States, we would have a flourishing, beautiful, selfless country. And their argument was, well, no, because Christians suck. And I was like, I totally agree. I guarantee I hate Christians more than you. I guarantee it. I promise it. I bet anything on it. I'm not asking for Christian morality, because it's garbage. Because Christians don't follow Christian morality. Christians have created their own new Christian morality, just like culture, which is contingent on things that are not the Bible. It's contingent on things that are not objective standards from God. What I'm saying is if we bring by the book biblical morality as directed by the Ten Commandments, as directed by Jesus Christ himself, and nothing more, we would live in a near perfect world. If everybody abided by it, which is the caveat, which is what Christianity does not do. We pick the things we want, we get rid of the things we do not, and that creates a bastardized moral function. But if we actually abided by biblical morality as defined, Ten Commandments, Jesus himself, nothing else. Take Paul even out. Anybody, Jesus Christ, Ten Commandments, that is God collectively. Just do those things and don't do those things that it says not to do. Anybody, make me a case for why or for how we would not have a near perfect world. We would. So yes, rant because yes. These people need Jesus. Even if you have a hard time with the religiosity, even if you have a hard time with the church, don't ever go to church again. I have no issue anymore, especially after the statistics that I'm seeing and things. I did a video a couple days ago about the statistics of youth pastors. Less than 50% of them believe Christian values. Abandon the church. For a long time, I've been very weary of saying that. No, you should still go to church. Find a local community. Nope, get the hell out. Get the hell out of churches. Unless you vetted one, and you are a free thinker enough to be able to call them on their bullshit. Flee from the church like wildfire because it is broken. It is so, so broken. Dive into the actual book. Get a bunch of different Bibles. Abide by the moral values of the Bible, the essential things in the Bible. The non-essential things, do what we do and have discussions about them. At this point, I'm like, abandon church. Because Christians are fucking lost. They're broken. I saw a video today that I'm going to do an uploaded video on, where a female pastor, and it's not about women being pastors. I don't care. If you know my opinion, I don't care. It's a female pastor in Chicago. And she says, she literally says, actually, let me find it for you. I want to show you guys this. This was insane. It was absolutely insane to hear this girl say it. But I'm not gonna say a lot on it because I'm gonna do a longer video on it. But what is it? Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta show you this. I have to show you this. It was absolutely wild. All right, here it is.
Father Ken already introduced me.
All right, so watch this real quick. But this is my point: is flee the church. Flee the church, because it is becoming more unreliable than it is reliable. It's becoming more detrimental than it is beneficial. And this is an example of why.
A little bit, but I just wanted to say hi and say thank you. My name is Pastor L. I use pronouns like she or they. I'm a campus minister in Chicago for a joint Lutheran Episcopal campus ministry downtown on the Loop, where I also pastor to a group of unhoused folks. Before we get started, I wanted to just name something too from the reading from Corinthians. You might have noticed that we didn't read one part out loud, and that's because it's yikes. So,
that's because it's yikes. You'll notice we omitted verses from the Bible. That's because it's yikes. Fucking boom. Boom. I didn't even know how to proceed with my day when I first saw this. I eventually gathered myself and ran to show Kat because I needed to laugh at it so that it didn't break me apart. It gets better.
Putting that reading in original context, Paul himself was a Jewish man, right? And so there were sort of inter-Jewish conversations and disagreements about the role of Jesus and what that means. But really, in this letter to the Corinthians, Paul's being kind of a jerk, both about Jewish people and about the Greeks. And even more important than his original intent is
he's being a jerk. Ugh. Why is he being a jerk? Because the Corinthians were fucking her. They were her. She was them. That's why Paul was being a jerk. Because the Corinthians were her. They were doing that. That's why he was a jerk. To both the Gentile, the converted Jew, because the Corinthian people were lost. They were broken. They were heretics. They were bringing other religious practices, ideologies, religiosity into the Corinthian church. And Paul was like, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing? It's the mirror. It's a fucking mirror. She is the Corinthian church. The church today is the Corinthian church. And this is why as we go through 1 Corinthians, which we're going to continue tomorrow, you probably see me get more upset than any other text. You probably see more notes and highlights than any other text because we are Corinth. We are back to being Corinth. And this just fucking drove me crazy. It drove me insane. But that's what the church has become. I'm going to calm down. It breaks my heart because yes, a father killing his kids and then killing his wife and then killing himself is because, yes, Ghost said, he doesn't have Jesus. And even if you can't get down with Jesus, get down with objective morality because it doesn't allow this shit. It doesn't allow this type of behavior. It doesn't allow this type of culture. It doesn't allow a culture that fosters a situation where a man who is a protector, who is a provide and protect for both his kids and his wife, turns into the person that kills them all. Oh, the husband, a former software engineer manager at both Meta and Google, filed for divorce in December 2016, records show, years before Benzinger, a data scientist and manager at Zillow, gave birth. Apparently, the divorce had materialized, and after leaving his post at Meta this past June, Henry founded his own AI company. The firm, identified on the seasoned computer scientist social media as Logits, provides enterprises with the means to privately train and serve generative AI models to serve their own specific business needs. Its site, as of writing it down. So, strife, perhaps. There's just no way, man. I'm getting to the point where, like, uh-oh. Uh-oh. Yeah, I think I've lost the camera. All right, I think we're back. All right, just hang tight. The camera's going to pick back up. What I was saying is what's happening today makes me want to like go be a street preacher. I want to just go out and scream about this. It's turning me into that guy, which I've just never been. That's not me, but it's turning me into that person. Something a bit more fun. The camera will pick back up, guys. The camera will pick back up. Yeah, but that was a very beautiful face that I got stuck on. Couldn't have been better. I'm contacting YouTube right now. I think actually sometimes my camera, sometimes because I have a cheap camera, because when I wave my hands too much, sometimes the camera freezes. I don't know why, but I think maybe it's just because it's cheap. But I when I use too many hand motions, the camera will just freeze. High quality tech, guys. This is a high quality operation. Yeah, good luck getting a hold of somebody. Very true. All right, Biden. Some of you might appreciate this if you are partakers of the marijuana. I personally have not, but there was a day in my youth where I very much was, so I can appreciate it for that fact. It says, quote, "These edibles ain't shit," end quote. 30 minutes later, and now we have Biden.
I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking, but let me be clear.
So 9 or 10 seconds of him. I'm not making fun of him. Genuinely, bottom of my heart, with all integrity, I'm not making fun of him because he's not well. But 10 seconds of not being able to speak at all. I'll have a second or two, often. A second or two, I'll have a hard time, getting the word out because my brain is running quicker than my mouth. I don't think that's his problem. I think his problem is that his brain is not running at all. His brain is not running enough. And so the mouth doesn't have anything to put out. It's just progressively getting worse. I think I mentioned it last week. If you go back to 2020, 2021, and you listen to Biden talk, not great, but good God, was he coherent in comparison? It's jaw-dropping when you play things from this year, from 23, against things from 20 and 21. To see the difference in his cadence, to see the difference in his inflection, to see the difference in his eyes, but to hear the difference in the way he projects himself, the way he conveys things. He was coherent in 20 and 21, not perfectly, not where it should be to be a president, in my opinion, but acceptable enough, I suppose. Right now, it's not at all acceptable. It's not in any way acceptable. And it's really, really sad to see. Your live may contain themes not suitable for younger audiences, and it has been restricted. Wow. Interesting. I have never seen that before. He has a mouth or two. He has a month or two before it happens. I agree. I have a couple theories for what's going to happen to Biden. We'll save it, though, because I just got age restricted, apparently. So I think I'll save it for next time. All right. What do we got? Oh, this is great. You guys will love this. Communist Canada. 18,000 elementary students facing suspension if they don't get up-to-date COVID vaccines. The most insane news you will hear all day. How the F is this happening in what used to be a free society?
Are facing suspension. Public Health sending families a notice to get vaccination records up to date, or they have to face the consequences. TV's Ashley Bacon is following that for us and joins us live with more this evening. Ashley, this round of suspension orders are targeting elementary school students.
Yes, Alex, over 18,000 elementary students received a notice letting families know that they'll have 6 weeks to update vaccination records, or students will be suspended on March 27th. More than 27,000 notices were initially issued in November and December. Since then, the region has been running vaccination clinics.
Thousands of students across.
Okay, I'll just point out, unless I missed it, but I've listened to it 3 times now. In the clip that we have, I don't hear COVID. Maybe it's about COVID. I'm not saying it's not. But in all fairness, because For me, it's like, don't get trapped in your echo chamber. If you're going to complain about other people stuck in their echo chamber, don't get stuck in a delusional world. If you're gonna be upset about other people being stuck in a delusional world, I don't hear them talking about COVID. I hear them talking about vaccines in general. It seems as though the identifying words have been cut out, whether that was on purpose, whether it was incidental. I don't know, but the user says COVID. The video does not say COVID. So perhaps it's COVID, perhaps it's not. Either way, I suppose, at this point, most people are kind of anti-vaccine mandate altogether. COVID kind of made a lot of people needle shy for vaccines in general. So either way, in my opinion, whether it's specifically about COVID or not, I think it's problematic. Maybe not most, but a large number of Americans and Canadians are now like, we're not getting vaccines at all anymore. You guys have completely turned us off to this idea of vaccines at all. We will take our chances. We are all set. My kids are all set. So that's a problem. If kids are going to be suspended from school without getting vaccines or COVID, regardless of what it is, you're forcing them to go through with, what everybody's calling a medical procedure, because it is. That's a problem. It's a problem, because the next one would be called COVID. And TikTok is not happy about something that I said. I don't know what. Oh, this is good. Scott Walter's new book, Arabella, provides a devastating expose of Arabella Advisors, the radical left's dark money group made up of paid protesters and bought and paid for professional activists. What time is it? 9 o'clock. Okay, I'm going to open the article, but we're going to save it. I want to get through some of the immigration stuff. But I'll tell you this much. I just bought the book today. I read a bunch about this when I saw that tweet initially. I read this article. I read some more about it. I'm super interested in reading the book. So I bought the book. I'm very excited to read that. We'll come back to this.
China.
All right, immigration. Rep. Tom Tiffany exposed. The migrant camp in the Coronado National Forest is now filled with illegal aliens. NGOs like the Catholic Charities and the Red Cross aiding this invasion must be investigated. The Biden admin allows this to take place on public land, all paid for by your tax dollars. You have an infrared drone video showing the National Forest and showing that the NGO and Catholic Charities have aided setting up camps for migrants to live in. They're just camping now. The cities are full. There's movement into the suburbs. Now the national parks. It's like a Netflix show gone wrong. It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, to piss you off even more, actually, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. All right, breaking. 4,344% increase of Chinese immigrants at the U.S. border. Just yesterday, the San Diego Border Patrol arrested 270, basically, Chinese nationals who crossed illegally. There have been over 20,000 Chinese nationals encountered. Encountered means met at the border and let through. It also means met at the border and turned away. However, we know nobody is really getting turned away. So 20,000 Chinese nationals encountered by Border Patrol so far this year. Just a reminder, it's February 17th. So 20,000 Chinese nationals in a month and a half. I believe the total number is almost 1 million in the past 30 days. Double check. But if I recall correctly, it's something like 800,000. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. In all of 2021, 450 Chinese were encountered. Recap. 270 Chinese nationals who crossed illegally San Diego border yesterday. 450 Chinese were encountered all of 2021. So one day, 270. 1 year, 450. A month and a half, 20,000. Tell me it's not a problem. Even if all these people were awesome, they were awesome, and they were here to support America, they were gonna just be freaking great. That's still a problem. We can't support that. Not to mention that they're not paying for anything. That's a problem. Not to mention that they're flooding cities that are already having issues. That's a problem. Now the national parks, problem. In New York, schools having kids go home to do remote learning so that they can turn schools into hotel rooms for illegal aliens. That's a problem. Even if all of these people were awesome people, and long term, it'd be great to have them maybe. It's still a problem. It's not sustainable. There will be collapse. There is already collapse. Breaking. Migrant riot breaks out at the Hague, I think. Hague. Large-scale rioting has broken out in the Netherlands, with Dutch police responding to irritating migrants. I'm sorry, I'm so uncultured. I'm not sure how to say that properly. I'm probably saying it totally wrong. I apologize. Who have broken into the opera house. Multiple police cars have been set alight as the rioters attack police with bricks. That's a problem. That's a problem. This is an issue. Real quick, I wanna grab this real quick. Shoot. Okay, I had two things that I really wanted to show y'all, and I lost them. The links didn't transfer over. So one of them I think I have here. The other one, oh, maybe not. Is this garbage? This is garbage. Lovely. I'll try to find them. So basically, I found there's a video of a man who was interviewing a few immigrants in New York City. He asked them, it was a couple of ladies, and they had some kids with them. They looked to be Hispanic. Doesn't really matter, though. They were immigrants. They're here illegally. So the gentleman was, they were Hispanic because he was speaking Spanish. He asked them, how much have you paid for room and board since you've been here? They said, no, nothing. We haven't paid anything. He clarified and said, so in the hotel that you're living in here in New York City, you've paid for nothing? And they were like, yeah, no, nothing. We paid absolutely nothing. And he's like, okay. How much have you paid for childcare since you've been here? Because like I said, they had kids with them. They said, no, nothing. It's all paid for. Nothing. He's like, nothing. They said, no, nothing. He's like, okay. How is your living condition in the hotel that you stay here in Manhattan? And they said, oh, it's great. They clean every day. And he's like, they come in and clean your room every day. And they said, yeah, they clean every day. He's like, okay. What about healthcare? Say you got hurt, your kid got hurt. How do you go take care of your family or yourself? They said, oh, we have Medicare. He's like, you have Medicare? They're like, yeah, we've used it. He's like, okay. So what's being passed around right now is that 50%, if not slightly more, I'll find the articles and put them in Discord. The links got corrupted. 50% or more of hotels in New York City are migrant housing now. Housekeeping. They do pay for some food, but food is brought to them free of charge. They're getting, I believe it's $3,000 a month, just cause. They have medical insurance. They have free childcare. I know people who are in the military here who don't have free childcare. They don't get $3,000 a month. They do get, obviously, their assistance, but they don't just get a free $3,000 a month. They don't get a free cell phone. Their cellular isn't paid for. I think I already said they don't get free childcare. Their meals are not paid for, and nobody comes to their house to clean their house. And nobody else in America obviously gets that either. But the greatest comparison to me is people who just come here, broke the law to come here, get better treatment than the people who are literally serving the country in a military capacity. The people who, in my opinion, deserve the greatest level of respect and care from the government because they are protecting the government existing. They don't get that. They don't get any of it. Give them free fucking childcare and then call it good. Still totally wrong, but you'd have a bit more of an argument. They don't get any of that. Again, to what I've said 1,000 times already, I don't understand how the functioning human being can see this and not say, okay, I feel for immigration. I feel for immigrants. It's heartbreaking. My heart goes out to them. If they're fleeing something that is bad, is wrong, is not okay. 100%. But I wouldn't be able to then look at Americans who live here, have always lived here, who specifically, again, because it's the best example, who have fought in our military so that we have the freedom we have, so that we have the country that everybody wants to come to illegally. The only reason we have it is because of these people. And they're not getting any of that. How can you say that you are not, how do I say this politically correct? That you are not mentally deficient to be able to not see the ass backward nature of that is crazy. It's delusional. It's insane. There's just no way around any of that. What do you guys have here?
I get up in the morning and look at Jill and say, where the hell are we?
If you have to come to East Palestine, don't.
We are following breaking news as we come on the air this morning. A train derailment forces hundreds from their home in Ohio.
The governor of Ohio says the toxic chemicals contained in 5 tanker cars are very deadly if inhaled. He says if those living within about a mile of the derailment site don't evacuate, their lives could be in danger.
The EPA does say that the area well and groundwater are safe. However, after this couple saw dead fish in this creek that you're looking at, they're deciding to not take any chances.
There was hundreds.
Russell Murphy is referring to the fish now belly up in Leslie Run.
The EPA does say that the area well and groundwater are safe.
Bullshit.
3 weeks later.
President Biden says he will visit the train derailment site in East Palestine. However, he did not say when that would happen. At a luncheon with Senate Democrats.
He still hasn't been. I'm right about that, right? I don't think I'm like 90% sure he still has not been there. Nor has he talked about it at all since then. This is like, dude, the money. Where does the money go? Those people. Where does the money go? Maui. Where does the money go? There are so many examples of this here. People here who need help here first. And then if we have to, spread the love. I totally get it. I'm all about it. But good God, dude, that's fucking crazy.
Yesterday, he told reporters that he would be out there at some point.
Why has the president not made the visit out
No.
there? And at this point, is he just not?
No, he went today. Really? That can't be true. Is that?
Going to? He's done a lot of travel in recent weeks and months.
So I'm just going to repeat what the president said. He will travel to the area, to East Palestine. Just don't have anything to share on travel or upcoming dates that he'll be there. But the president said it. He's going to go, so he will go.
Well, I haven't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. There's a lot going on here, and I just haven't been able to break. I was thinking whether I'd go to East Palestine this week, but I then was reminded I've got to go literally around the world. I'm going from Washington to India to Vietnam and so it's going to be a while.
Wow! Just one more. The president said over the long weekend that he hasn't had the occasion to go to East Palestine. I just haven't been able to break. The derailment was on February 3rd. President Biden has not had a break since February 3rd.
Yo, hold on. Good God, hold on. Biden calls Ohio train derailment an act of greed as he visits the area a year later. Yeah, Mikkel's right on. February 16th. East Palestine, Ohio, February 16th. This is Reuters. U.S. President Joe Biden on Friday called the toxic derailment of the Norfolk Southern train in East Palestine, Ohio, completely preventable during a visit to the area a year after the incident sparked a health and environmental crisis. I want to play this.
You know, I want to thank the folks of East Palestine to know. I want them to understand that we're not going home no matter what till this job is done. And it's not done yet. There's a lot more to do. The vast majority has been done. But we're going to stay to the very end. Every need is met. And we continue to hold Norfolk Southern accountable, make sure they make your community whole now and in the future. And what they do not make whole, what they cannot make whole, what isn't made, the government will make whole. Let me be clear. While there are acts of God, this was an act of greed that was 100% preventable. Let me say it again. An act of greed that was 100% preventable. We were pushing the railroads to take more precautions, to deal with braking, to deal with a whole range of things that were not dealt with. Norfolk Southern failed its responsibility. We know multi-million-dollar railroad companies transporting toxic chemicals have a responsibility to do it safely. And again, Norfolk Southern failed.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Another great example of the dude is not there. What he said, I could say in 5 seconds. All of that. 5 seconds flat. It's all said. We're done. We're moving on. That was a minute and a half of him saying nothing. Nothing at all. In his first trip since the derailment, Biden touted the site of the accident, which forced residents to abandon their homes. Many people have since suffered from rashes, breathing problems, and other ailments. Quote, while there are acts of God, this is an act of greed that was 100% preventable. A conservative who does not support Biden, Trent Conaway, extended the invitation to visit to the Democratic president, saying it would be good for his community. That's crazy. The fact that you'd come in there with I don't know how to say it in a pro-social way, with your junk out, so proud and so comfortable, just focusing on the company's failure, which may be perfectly valid. You did not give a shit until a year later. I've been so busy. I've been around the literal world. We've been watching you. We've been watching you for the past year. You could have absolutely gone to, why did he not go? Why did he not go? Well, over the past year, how easy would it have been to shove in his face how messed up things were, how broken people's lives were? It would have been really easy. A year later, it's much harder because the community has rebuilt. The community has come together. The community has taken care of themselves where the government failed. It's much easier to stroll in a year later, blame the company, and just make your appearance. Oh, I'm here. I'm doing my job. Isn't it great to see me? That's insane. The balls that it takes to do that and then have that approach is crazy.
The president will go to East Palestine. He promised that he would, and he will. You saw him.
So he was not on a break when he was in Lake Tahoe?
I will say this again. The president is going to go to East Palestine, as he has said that he is committed to do.
1 year later.
Happening today, President Joe Biden is coming to East Palestine.
Let's clap for that, you stupid bastard.
His visit comes exactly 1 year and 13 days after a Norfolk Southern train spilled toxic chemicals, displacing thousands of neighbors.
All right, if you want to watch the rest, it's Mikkel put it in Discord. Go take a look at it. I'm gonna try to save us some time. Mikkel, thank you for putting that in there. I did not know that he was finally going.
So we thought it would be interesting to take a look at a
Oh, this is good. I saw this. This is good.
contemporary, modern-day, 2024 Russian grocery store 2 years into sanctions. But these are all seem to be Western products: Mars, Twix, Snickers, Milky Way, Bounty, Gillette, Paul's Cough Drops, Mentos. It's pretty non-sanctioned to me, but what do I know?
We lied. I'm not a commander. It's all fake. Just like me.
This is the end.
If you haven't watched the full video, Tucker, some of the stuff that he did the subway, he did the grocery store. Check that out. But there's two sides to that, in my opinion. Is that, yeah, the sanctions were garbage. But beyond that, Russia very quickly made a deal with China, and they were basically unaffected by sanctions. China was a big part of that. GOP warning of national security threat is about Russia wanting nuclear weapons in space. I'll say this just outright. This is an old story. I know it hit the news this week really, really hard, really fast. Congress knew about this. For my understanding is for years they knew about this. President Joe Biden's national security advisor and leading lawmaker on Capitol Hill sought to allay public concerns on Wednesday after the House Intelligence Committee chairman wanted a national security threat related. Chairman warned. I'm sorry, my eyes are going. So I apologize. National security threat related to a destabilizing foreign military capability. So serious that Biden should declassify all information about it. Two sources familiar with the deliberations on Capitol Hill said the intelligence has to do with Russia wanting to put a nuclear weapon into space. This would not be to drop a nuclear weapon onto Earth, but rather to possibly use against satellites. Still, quote, it is very concerning and very sensitive, end quote. While not addressing the subject directly, multiple members of Congress quickly described the issue as serious without stoking public alarm. Quote, We are going to work together to address this matter as we do all sensitive matters that are classified, end quote. House Speaker Mike Johnson told reporters at the Capitol on Wednesday afternoon. But we just want to assure everyone, steady hands are at the wheel, blah, blah, blah. As to whether more can be declassified about this issue, that is a worthwhile discussion, but it is not a discussion to be had in public. So my understanding is really nothing of substance has come out with this. I followed it a bit, but like I said, I believe from everything I have learned about it is that they've known this. And that it was just kind of something that like hit the news and became a story because of tensions with Russia. But that this has been something Congress has known about for some time. But now you have public alarm about it. So now they're like, oh, we're very concerned. We're very concerned. We're going to take care of this. I believe it's not new. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to read this, but we can all applaud. Slow clap for Idaho. I read this to Kat earlier this week. Idaho passes laws instituting the death penalty for child R words, outlawing AI-generated child online sexual content. That's probably still going to get flagged. Yeah, Idaho is doing the most to be awesome, to be ethical and moral and lovely. That's beautiful. That's all you really need to know. If you care, search for it. Scott, thanks for putting it. I don't know why I didn't pull it into my notes, but yeah, I saw that earlier this week. Stoked. I think that's great. Oh, God. Rep. Dan Goldman tried to trip up a former immigration judge. Spoiler, it did not go as planned.
Thank you, Mr. Goldman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank our witnesses for being here. I just came in a minute ago, Mr. O'Brien, but you said that the president has the authority to shut down the border right now. Under what authority do you refer to?
As I said, Section 1182F of the Immigration and Nationality Act, which was the statutory provision that was at issue in Trump v. Hawaii. It's a provision that allows the president by proclamation to temporarily suspend the admission of certain classes of aliens into the United States.
Any more brain busters?
Why didn't Donald Trump use that?
He did. That's why the Trump v. Hawaii case went all the way to the Supreme Court.
But that...
Gotcha!
Why was it relied on Title 42?
Well, there was a pandemic on. I mean, Title 42 is pitched at a very different set of circumstances. It's specifically at a public health crisis. 1182F is pitched at a general power to manage the border in confrontation of a crisis.
Yep. Killed it. All right, last one, and then we're going to roll off.
You know, maybe living in the dystopian era of the world where everything is overrun by AI robots isn't actually that bad. Because some absolute Chad on 4chan just made this new AI tool called Dignify that does pretty much the coolest thing ever. I'm sure we've all seen the AI deepfakes that pretty much takes pictures of women and makes porn out of them. Disgusting, evil, hate it. But Dignify does the exact opposite. It takes pictures of whores and turns them back into people who look like they're worthy of respect. I mean, look how much better women look when they're dressed like they actually have a dad. It even removed the tattoos. Just look at the improvement. Bro, praise God. This is fantastic. We need to put all media through this AI before it ever hits a screen. I want this to come standard on every smartphone, every TV, every browser. Someone please turn this into an app for the Apple Vision Pro so I can just wear it 24/7. I mean, the world would look like a utopia. I don't care how stupid I look, I would wear that dumbass headset everywhere I go for the rest of my life. Bro, they even got Post Malone. Look at him. They turned him into Pre-Malone. Bro looks like he has an excellent credit score. Bro looks like he stays silent at movie theaters. Bro looks like he shops at Costco. Bro looks like he tips 20% at restaurants even when there's bad service. Now let me tell you what makes this even funnier. Women are actually getting more mad at this than they were at the porn AI. If you thought objectifying women made them mad, just try doing the exact opposite and they'll go absolutely feral. They are threatening lives over this, bro. I mean, we've really come full circle. We objectify women, they get mad. We unobjectify women, and they get even madder. I mean, women will never be happy. But I don't give a fuck, because this is epic, and if you want to support Dignify, the link to their website and their Twitters in the description. That's all I got for you guys. Make sure you read
that. Yeah, this is another thing. I think a couple weeks ago, I showed Kat the tattoo one. and I told her about the Dignify with the clothes. But it is funny because he's right. If you look into it a little bit, you find that, at least on Reddit, women are really upset about it. Women are really, really upset about it. Almost as upset as, and I'm saying women in a very general sense. I know for sure none of the women here right now are in this classification, so please, like, totally disregard the women of culture who are broken, just like the men of culture who are broken. I like to think none of us are in that category, but the women of culture, of our current culture, objectification was a big problem. Now you have a class of men who are not of this culture and who are not about promiscuity and are not about easy sex, are saying, okay, well, we're going to reverse engineer this and we are going to make it modest. And the women of culture are super pissed about it, very upset. If you have a second, go back to that video and pause. When he pulled up all the Reddit comments, I have read through a lot of the Reddit stuff. It is wild. It is crazy just how mad some people are. And it's not just women. There's a lot of men of this culture who are also really mad about it. And it just shows you how absolutely broken all of this is. Everything is shattered. Reality is no more. It's crazy. It's totally crazy. What a world, man. What a world. If you are watching this later as a recording, we have a Discord server. There's a link in the description of the video. This is what you're looking at right now. The most important thing here is the events tab. That'll show you when we are doing stuff like we're doing right now. You got live Bible study tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Time. We do the Theist Thesis podcast, which is a topic-based discussion that you all vote on. And that's how we decide what we do. Which reminds me, this week we will be doing Souls. It ends in 10 minutes and it's blown out of the water. So Ghost and I, and anybody else who is interested in hopping on the voice channel, we will be discussing what are souls. What's the deal? We had some back and forth during the movie night. I think it'll be a really, really good talk. So that's Thursday. But anyways, beyond the Thursday stream, we have the Saturday, which is what you're watching right now. And that is where I get very upset and lose my temper a little bit. Yeah, broken, Mikkel, broken. Everybody is so broken. Uninked Post Malone looks like he could be Richard's brother. Later, I agree with all of it. Listen, I agree with all of it, but I want tattoos. I already gave up colored hair. No, I regret tattoos heavily. Very, very much. I regret tattoos. Some women look okay with tattoos, but like a lot of tattoos on a woman, I don't know. It's not for me, but there are men who like it, you know? And I'm sure there are many Christian men who are good men who like it. What's the deal with soul? What's the deal with souls? It'll be good. I think Thursday will be a really good chat. 2 hours. 2 hours. We did this. There was a lot. Basically perfect timing though. Let's be honest. I'm not saving anything for next time. We hit everything. Went through Discord. It's like the most perfectly timed one that we've done so far. This is good stuff. And we almost got kicked off YouTube and we didn't. So that's also very positive. That's a great thing. Guys, please help me because I am terrible at the YouTube stuff because I just don't care that much. Do the YouTube stuff. Do the like button. When we end this, if you have a minute, hang out for 20 seconds and leave a comment, whatever. It helps with the algorithm. And when we do these, if you can, like share them around. Everybody here is fully aware that YouTube has destroyed my channel and I don't care enough to start a new one. And I'm not going to go through with all of it. So the only way we get more people is outreach. It's the only way any of you got here. So it's kind of up to you guys to decide how far these go, because YouTube is not going to recommend them. I am fully aware that YouTube is not going to recommend any of this stuff. So just keep that in mind. New people will come from you guys kind of doing whatever you can to make it happen. But yeah, we're 2 hours in. Everybody have a lovely night. Thank you for being here with me while we realize how terrible things are. But tomorrow's Bible study, and that's positive. So just think about that. I'll see you at Bible study. Love you guys. Good night.